everybody, this is Ismael here today, wanting to talk to you a little bit more about of course resources and things like that that you need to have as an art teacher. I've done 2 videos so far that dealt with basically like books and on things books that you should have as a art teacher in your library. Part of it was more or less academic type things that would give you information, books by scholars and leaders in the field of art education. And then also books that dealt with specifically with materials in the visual arts. And this video is going to deal with magazines. And some magazines that I think you should really subscribe to if you're an art teacher today. So this will be a quick video, and I'm just going to cover a couple of magazines that I subscribe to regularly that are very informative, I think, and helpful. So let's get to it. So the first magazine is or magazine / journals or journals in terms of research and stuff, so on like that, is by the National Art Education Association. I don't know if you can see it really clearly there, but this is the actual magazine. Magazine is one of the issues I have here, and besides the Art Education magazine, the National Art Education Association also makes a journal, which is very academically more on the side of academic and scholarship and those type of things. And then there is a news, kind of a news magazine of what's going on around the world. All 3 of them are published by the National Art Education Association. And if you can, I feel strongly, if you are an art teacher anywhere in the United States, you should definitely be a member, of the NAEA, and you should definitely get their magazines. So they're very informative. Their art education magazine deals with a lot of different subjects, lessons, lesson ideas, articles that really deal with teachers' experiences in the art room from all the various grade levels. As far as what's going on with specific people, articles on that's with the news magazine. And that comes together, I believe that's a full, the subscription is with the membership. So if you become a member, you can also, I think, get the magazine, or if not, pay a little extra. Regardless, it's worth having. And then, of course, if you're a student as well as an art teacher, but let's say you're a student art teacher, or you're still in school in the sense of, you're still getting your degree, this magazine here is really wonderful. And then many of my professors, in terms of reading material, articles, and so on, have used many articles based from this journal. And this is the journal, this is called the Study in Art Education, a journal of issues and research in art education. And it is the publication, I think, in terms of scholastic and, not scholastic, scholarly work by really a lot of leading people in the field of art education. Now, the next magazine. Now that was just by itself. Those 3 are all produced by the NAEA. Now this magazine you may be familiar with if you're already in a school, and this is the Scholastic Art Magazine. Now Scholastic makes several types of magazines. They're wonderful. They're just a wonderful resource. Besides being known for their books, they make a great magazine, and their art magazine is really just wonderful. One of the really wonderful parts of it is, besides the fact that they give you a poster in every magazine, that's pretty cool. They also have a lesson guide or a teacher guide which usually looks something like this, and usually, you know, the teacher will get it, obviously, and it's a teacher guide, literally says that on it, and it really goes, it deals with the subject of what the magazine's about. So in this case, this particular issue is dealing with Andy Warhol, American pop art, working with ideas, and of course it talks about various, this particular issue is dealing with different things in pop art and the whole movement and so on, and how to really pull some wonderful lessons that you could use. And you know, pop art is really fun in terms of, you know, the diversity of where you can go with it. So students, I have friends who are art teachers who get issues for their students. There's a fee for that, but you can also get an individual subscription. So if you just want it for yourself, you can subscribe to that. And I think you have to call them. Usually on the website, you can. That's when you do the class. If you have, depending on what class you want to give it to or how many students you have. But either way, basically, it's a great magazine. And if you can subscribe to it, I highly recommend it. And if you're in a school, of course, get it for your students too, and use it. You know, and the posters are wonderful. Like I said, that's a really nice added part to it. The next magazine is called School Arts, and it's produced by Davis. And Davis is known for a lot of textbooks in the arts. In art education. They just make a prolific of different materials, resources for teachers of all grades, and there are a lot of great ideas. And this magazine, one of the issues here, is just another, it really is more aligned to seeing what teachers are doing and where they're getting their ideas. They deal with STEAM, not STEM, STEAM. STEAM, because we incorporate the arts, right? So this is really just a wonderful magazine with a lot of different like lessons, you know, and how to go about it. You know, talks about, you know, with each lesson a list of materials, what was the teacher thinking, and then in the middle of this particular magazine, they'll have clip cards, and the clip card will show a piece of artwork on the front, and then in the back, how they performed that lesson. You know, so it goes about the essential question, the objective, the materials, procedures, and assessment. So you have a mini lesson right there that you could use maybe for, you know, for anything, for any time. I know sometimes, you know, art teachers are called sometimes to substitute for a class, and they need a quick lesson. Those cards are really wonderful for that type of thing, or a demo lesson, that kind of thing. So those are great ideas. So that's School Arts, and remember, it's a little bit on the, it really falls in line with the concept of STEAM, okay? So the next magazine is called Arts and Activities, and it is a wonderful magazine, similar in some ways to School Arts, but different. You know, it has its own unique flavor, and again, a lot of lessons, lesson ideas, you know, a little bit of you know, looking at how other teachers around the country are going about the art of teaching art. And there's just a lot of wonderful resources. I think the other wonderful thing about these particular magazines is that they also have a lot of vendors that you may not be aware of that really sell or provide wonderful art materials that you could use for your classroom. So, you know, we tend to think, you know, you can't put your eggs in one basket, as they say. So most schools have a vendors or a number of vendors. These vendors may be on them, most likely, and you can order art supplies that are maybe a little bit unique than you're used to. But would work with your lesson well, and that's what you need. This magazine also has a poster. It's a little smaller than the Scholastic one, but nonetheless it's really pretty cool. And it's usually a classic painting or a piece of art that you know, you can do a critique with your kids. So art and activities, and it's one of the leading, if not leading, art education magazines. It's been around 85 years. That's a pretty long time. So they've been around doing this for a very long time. Now, one more thing that I would, the next 2 or 3 magazines that I'm going to show you are really more specific in terms of the arts, like you know, drawing, painting, that kind of thing. Now, the reason I bring these magazines up, as well as encouraging you as an art teacher, is if you are an art teacher, you should be doing art in some capacity or reading up on other artists who are doing very serious work. So I like to draw, and I've mentioned this in my videos previously. So one of the magazines I subscribe to is Drawing. It literally says Drawing on the top. And it's just a great magazine to learn about all the different types of drawing there is in the world. And you know, just looking at the cover here, you know, there's always a competition dealing with graphite. So that's always on with this particular magazine. Pen air drawings, everything from mixed media, you know, Conte, charcoal, graphite, different types of paper are discussed. And of course, a lot of different a lot of different techniques that deal with drawing the figure, still life, observation, pen air, things of that nature. And I've gotten a lot of ideas from here, and this magazine has inspired me a lot about the kind of drawing lessons I try to do or put together. So I would highly recommend it. And if you don't draw, you should be drawing. This is a good magazine to inspire you by. Okay. Another magazine, because I love the medium of pastel, is Pastel Journal. So this is another just really intense, beautifully illustrated, colorful magazine with a lot of artists that use the medium of pastel. They paint and draw with pastels. So that's the best way I could say it, because there's that debate of, is pastel painting or is it drawing? It's really both. But that's a discussion for another time. But either way, it's just, if you're doing lessons in pastel, you know, and you need some ideas, or you want to improve the technique, or even discuss the various ways of using pastel, a magazine like this could be very useful. And of course, if you're a pastel artist yourself who teaches, you should be subscribed to this. All right. Now, the last magazine is one of my favorite magazines, and they're connected with the artistnetwork.com, and that is the Artist magazine, which they kind of changed their cover a little bit. They used to be a little thinner, more like the Drawing magazine. It used to look more like that, but it's a little bit more just different, I guess. But it's still a wonderful, wonderful magazine. I highly recommend it. If you're an art teacher, you definitely should be, you know, come on. It's on the title, people, Artist magazine. And you really should subscribe. And it deals with everything. Everything from painting to drawing to sculpting to using all types of mediums. I mean, wonderful artists that you could use to profile for your lessons. You'll see artwork that you may say, hey, you know, this is a great idea. Let me read more about the artists who did the work. And the majority, of course, are living artists, which is also, I think, great, because a lot of students, you know, when we approach art or teach art, you know, we sometimes get these funny ideas that everybody's kind of dead. or lived long ago, right? But you know, there are a lot of great living artists today who are just doing amazing work and inspire me to want to be better at my work because of some of the great stuff I see. So I would highly recommend a magazine like this to kind of see what's going on. And of course, there's always articles on the masters because there's always something to learn in the arts. So I would highly encourage you. Now, there's a magazine that I haven't subscribed to, but I plan to. It's not here right now, but that would be the Acrylic magazine. There's specifically acrylic painting. And just like certain, you know, these magazines and these types of resources are really to educate yourself as well as your students in really seeing what's going on in presently, you know. And I think it's really good to be on top of your game, and if you could find out and learn more, why wouldn't you? You know, if you want to be a good art teacher, you gotta find out what other people are doing, and I'm always bugging my friends who are art teachers and to find out what's going on, what you're doing, and stay connected. So for this short video, the videos, you know, I just wanted to say that because I think resources are so important. Hopefully I could do more of these type of videos. But if you subscribe, that really would encourage me, and support me on Patreon as well, because I'd really like to keep these videos free for you and make everything that I've learned available, as well as, of course, any of your comments or ideas or opinions. Would love to hear from them, so please write them in the comments below. So I hope you're having a great day, and have a great evening, and a great rest of your week, and we'll talk soon. See you next time. Take care.